The halls of Congress turned into a battleground today as Representatives Lauren Boebert and Ilhan Omar engaged in one of the most explosive confrontations in recent memory. What started as a heated debate during a committee hearing quickly escalated into a shouting match so intense that security staff were reportedly on high alert to intervene. Witnesses described the scene as chaotic and unprecedented, with tensions boiling over in a way that stunned even seasoned lawmakers. The drama unfolded during a hearing on national security, a topic that has often put Boebert and Omar on opposite sides of the aisle. Boebert, known for her fiery rhetoric and staunch conservative views, was delivering a statement critical of U.S. immigration policy when she allegedly made a veiled jab at Omar's background. "Some of us love this country and want to protect it," Boebert said, glaring in Omar's direction. The comment immediately sparked a reaction. Omar, visibly offended, interrupted Boebert mid-sentence. "Excuse me, but you don't get to question my patriotism," she fired back, her voice shaking with anger. "I was elected by the people of my district to represent them just like you were. How dare you suggest otherwise?" The exchange quickly spiraled out of control as both lawmakers began speaking over each other, their voices rising above the formal tone typically expected in congressional proceedings. "Maybe if you cared more about America and less about pushing dangerous policies, we wouldn't be in this mess," Boebert shouted, pointing her finger across the room. Omar didn't back down. "Coming from someone who spends more time spewing hate than legislating, that's rich," she snapped, slamming her hand on the table for emphasis. At this point, other members of the committee tried to intervene, but the two congresswomen were far from finished. "Don't lecture me about hate when you've made a career out of playing the victim," Boebert retorted, her voice dripping with sarcasm. The remark drew audible gasps from those in attendance, with one witness describing the atmosphere as electric. Omar, refusing to let the comments slide, shot back with equal venom. "If standing up for marginalized communities makes me a victim in your eyes, so be it. At least I stand for something." The tension reached a boiling point when Boebert allegedly stood up from her seat, leaning forward as if to physically confront Omar. "Why don't you say that to my face?" she reportedly said, her tone sharp and confrontational. Omar, not one to back down, leaned forward as well, glaring directly at Boebert. Security staff were seen moving closer to the scene, ready to intervene if the situation escalated further. Committee members scrambled to restore order, with the chairman repeatedly banging his gavel and shouting, "Gentlewomen, this is a formal hearing. Control yourselves." Eventually, the confrontation was diffused, but the damage had already been done. Both lawmakers left the hearing room visibly agitated, with their respective teams refusing to comment on the incident. Outside, reporters swarmed the two congresswomen, eager for a statement. Omar briefly addressed the media, saying, "This is what happens when people bring their bigotry into our government. I will not tolerate it." Boebert, meanwhile, took to Twitter shortly after the incident, writing, "I will never apologize for defending America against radical ideologies. The people elected me to fight, and fight I will." The clash has sparked outrage on both sides of the political spectrum. Supporters of Boebert praised her for standing her ground, while Omar's backers applauded her for confronting what they see as an ongoing pattern of disrespect and Islamophobia in Congress. Political analysts are calling the incident a new low in congressional decorum. "This kind of behavior undermines the integrity of our legislative process," one commentator said during a primetime news segment. "It's one thing to have passionate debates, but this was personal, and it crossed the line." Social media has erupted with reactions to the altercation, with hashtags like #Boebert vs. Omar and #Congress Meltdown trending nationwide. Memes, video clips, and heated debates have flooded platforms like Twitter and Instagram, with users on both sides passionately defending their respective representatives. This latest confrontation is just one chapter in the ongoing feud between Boebert and Omar. The two have clashed repeatedly on issues ranging from immigration to foreign policy, with Boebert often making controversial remarks that critics say target Omar's identity as a Somali-American Muslim. Omar, for her part, has accused Boebert of perpetuating hate and division. As the fallout from this incident continues, many are calling for House leadership to step in and address the growing hostility between members of Congress. "This is not what the American people want to see," said one veteran lawmaker. "We are here to serve the public, not to stage personal battles on the national stage." It remains to be seen whether any disciplinary action will be taken against Boebert or Omar for their conduct during the hearing. For now, the incident serves as a stark reminder of the deep divisions in U.S. politics and the personal animosities that often accompany them. Stay tuned as we continue to follow this developing story. Whether this clash leads to greater accountability or just adds fuel to the partisan fire, one thing is certain: the tension between Boebert and Omar is far from over. The aftermath of the explosive clash between Lauren Boebert and Ilhan Omar has sent shockwaves through Washington, sparking fierce debate across political lines. Within hours of the altercation, the incident became the top story on every major news network, with pundits dissecting every word and gesture from the confrontation. The tension between the two congresswomen has gone beyond a personal feud, symbolizing the growing polarization in American politics. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy was forced to address the issue, calling the behavior unacceptable, but stopping short of assigning blame to either party. While passion and debate are essential to the legislative process, personal attacks and near-physical altercations have no place in Congress, McCarthy said during a press conference. However, his statement did little to quell the escalating tensions. On the Democratic side, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries took a more pointed approach, directly calling out Boebert's behavior. This is yet another example of the toxic rhetoric and lack of professionalism that we've come to expect from certain members of the Republican Party, Jeffries said, vowing to push for an ethics investigation into the incident. Meanwhile, social media continues to erupt with reactions. Supporters of Boebert have launched a hashtag campaign, #BoebertDefendsAmerica, portraying her as a patriot standing up against what they see as radical ideologies. On the flip side, Omar supporters have rallied behind #StandWithIlhan, praising her for confronting what they describe as bigotry and intolerance. Political analysts are divided on the impact of the incident. Some believe it will energize Boebert's base, solidifying her reputation as a no-holds-barred fighter for conservative values. Others argue that the confrontation will further alienate moderate voters who are tired of political theatrics. Omar, too, faces both praise and criticism, with some calling her a bold voice for justice and others accusing her of escalating the situation. The clash has also raised questions about the state of decorum in Congress. Over the years, the legislative body has seen its fair share of heated debates, but rarely has an altercation escalated to the point where physical intervention seemed necessary. Historians note that while political brawls were common in the 19th century, such behavior is largely considered unacceptable in modern politics. Calls for disciplinary action have grown louder, with some lawmakers demanding that both Boebert and Omar face consequences for their behavior. "If we let this slide, we're setting a dangerous precedent," said one independent watchdog group. Lawmakers should be held to a higher standard of conduct. The incident has also put pressure on House Ethics Committee Chair Michael Guest, who has been inundated with calls to open a formal inquiry. While no official investigation has been announced, rumors suggest that both parties are preparing statements to defend their actions during the hearing. Adding fuel to the fire, several other members of Congress have weighed in on the controversy. Progressive leaders like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Rashida Tlaib have come out in full support of Omar, condemning Boebert's comments as Islamophobic dog whistles. Meanwhile, conservative figures such as Marjorie Taylor Greene and Jim Jordan have praised Boebert for speaking the truth. The media frenzy shows no signs of slowing down. Cable news networks have dedicated hours of airtime to analyzing the incident, with some outlets airing slowed-down footage of the altercation to dissect every detail. Talk show hosts and commentators have turned the clash into a national spectacle, fueling the narrative of a deeply divided Congress. Amidst the chaos, questions have arisen about how the incident will affect both lawmakers' political futures. Boebert, who narrowly won re-election in 2022, now faces increased scrutiny from constituents who are concerned about her behavior overshadowing her legislative work. Omar, too, has been criticized by some for engaging in the argument instead of de-escalating the situation. The incident has also highlighted the role of identity politics in modern discourse. For Omar, the confrontation underscores the challenges she faces as one of the first Muslim women in Congress. Her supporters argue that she is often unfairly targeted for her faith and heritage, making her a lightning rod for controversy. Boebert, on the other hand, has built her brand on a populist platform that thrives on confrontation, making incidents like these almost inevitable. International reactions have added another layer of complexity to the story. In Omar's home country of Somalia, local media outlets have picked up the story, framing it as a testament to her resilience in the face of adversity. Meanwhile, far-right groups in Europe have used the incident to amplify their anti-immigration rhetoric, highlighting Boebert's comments as validation of their views. Back home, the incident has reignited debates about free speech and the limits of acceptable discourse. Supporters of Boebert argue that she has the right to express her opinions, no matter how controversial. Critics, however, contend that her remarks cross the line into personal attacks that have no place in a professional setting. As the dust settles, both lawmakers are doubling down on their narratives. Omar has vowed to continue fighting for marginalized communities, stating that hate and ignorance will never silence me. Boebert, meanwhile, has reiterated her commitment to defending traditional American values against what she sees as the encroachment of radical leftist ideologies. The incident has also become a fundraising tool for both sides. Within hours of the confrontation, both Boebert and Omar's campaigns sent out fundraising emails, framing themselves as under attack and asking supporters to chip in to help them fight back. This tactic has drawn criticism from some who argue that both lawmakers are exploiting the situation for personal gain. For political strategists, the incident is a case study in how moments of conflict can be weaponized for political advantage. "This is the new normal in American politics," said one analyst. "Every scandal, every confrontation, becomes an opportunity to energize your base and demonize your opponents." As the story continues to dominate headlines, many are wondering whether this incident will lead to meaningful change or simply become another flashpoint in an increasingly polarized political climate. Some lawmakers are calling for mandatory civility training, while others argue that the root of the problem lies in the broader culture of partisanship and division. Despite the controversy, both Boebert and Omar appear determined to move forward. Whether the incident will ultimately hurt or help their careers remains to be seen, but one thing is certain: the clash has become a defining moment in their political legacies. For the American public, the incident serves as a stark reminder of the stakes in modern politics. With trust in government at an all-time low, moments like these only reinforce the perception that lawmakers are more interested in personal drama than solving the nation's problems. The fallout from the explosive confrontation between Lauren Boebert and Ilhan Omar continues to dominate the national conversation, with ramifications extending far beyond the walls of Congress. Political commentators and analysts are grappling with what this clash says about the state of American politics, where division and spectacle often overshadow governance. House leaders are scrambling to address the situation, as the tension threatens to derail critical legislative efforts. Speaker Kevin McCarthy, already juggling a fragile GOP majority, is now under pressure to rein in his caucus. "We have important work to do, and we can't afford to be distracted by personal disputes," McCarthy said during a press conference. Yet, he stopped short of directly condemning Boebert's behavior, a move that has drawn criticism from Democrats and some moderate Republicans. For Democrats, the clash is being framed as a symptom of a broader issue within the Republican Party. "This is what happens when you have members who thrive on chaos and division," said Representative Adam Schiff. "It's a distraction from the real work of governing and addressing the issues that matter to the American people." Progressives within the Democratic Party have rallied around Omar, viewing her as a symbol of resilience against what they describe as persistent bigotry. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez posted a fiery response on social media, saying, "Ilhan Omar has faced more hate and hostility than most members of Congress will ever understand. Yet she stands strong, refusing to let the forces of ignorance silence her." On the Republican side, reactions have been mixed. While hardliners like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Matt Gaetz have defended Boebert, more moderate members are expressing unease. "This isn't what we were elected to do," said one Republican lawmaker anonymously. "We're here to lead, not to engage in public spectacles." The confrontation has also reignited debates about the role of women in politics, particularly women of color like Omar. Advocates argue that the vitriol she faces is amplified by her identity, making her a frequent target for personal attacks. "This isn't just about policy disagreements," said one activist. "It's about the way women, especially women of color, are treated in positions of power." Critics of Boebert, however, argue that her behavior reflects a broader trend among certain far-right politicians who prioritize performative outrage over substantive debate. "Her brand is built on conflict," said one political analyst. "This kind of incident only reinforces her image as a fighter, which appeals to her base." Public opinion is sharply divided. In conservative circles, Boebert is being hailed as a hero who refuses to back down in the face of what they see as leftist overreach. Her supporters have flooded social media with messages of praise, calling her a patriot and a warrior for American values. Omar supporters, meanwhile, view her as a defender of progressive ideals who won't be intimidated by personal attacks. "She represents the future of this country," said one supporter at a rally in Minneapolis. "Her courage inspires us all." The incident has also taken on international dimensions. In Somalia, Omar's birthplace, the clash has been covered extensively in local media, with many seeing it as a testament to her strength and determination. Ilhan Omar continues to make us proud, one Somali journalist wrote. She is a voice for the voiceless, standing tall in the face of adversity. Back in Washington, some lawmakers are calling for structural changes to prevent future incidents. Proposals include mandatory civility training and stricter enforcement of House rules governing conduct during hearings. However, these suggestions have been met with skepticism, with critics arguing that the issue goes deeper than rules and training. Media coverage of the incident shows no signs of slowing down. News outlets across the spectrum are dissecting every angle, from the personal histories of Boebert and Omar to the broader implications for Congress. Talk shows and opinion columns have turned the confrontation into a national spectacle, further polarizing an already divided electorate. The incident has also become fodder for late-night comedians, who have lampooned the clash in monologues and skits. While some viewers find the humor a welcome relief, others argue that it trivializes the serious issues at the heart of the altercation. For Boebert, the confrontation is both a challenge and an opportunity. While it has drawn criticism from her opponents, it has also galvanized her supporters. Her campaign has already capitalized on the incident, sending out fundraising emails that frame her as a fearless fighter against radical leftists. Omar, too, has used the incident to rally her base. In a speech at a recent town hall, she reaffirmed her commitment to advocating for marginalized communities. "I will not be silenced by hate," she declared to a standing ovation. "We must continue to stand up for what is right, no matter the cost." The confrontation has also reignited debates about media bias. Conservatives argue that coverage of the incident unfairly portrays Boebert as the aggressor, while progressives believe that Omar's perspective is often overlooked or dismissed. As the story unfolds, the broader implications for Congress are becoming clear. The clash has highlighted the challenges of governing in an era of hyperpartisanship, where personal animosities often overshadow policy debates. "This isn't just about two members of Congress," said one political scientist. "It's about the state of our democracy and the values we hold as a nation." For voters, the incident serves as a stark reminder of the stakes in modern politics. With trust in government at historic lows, moments like these only reinforce the perception that lawmakers are more interested in scoring political points than addressing the needs of their constituents. Despite the backlash, both Boebert and Omar appear undeterred. Boebert has doubled down on her rhetoric, posting on social media that she will never apologize for defending America. Omar, meanwhile, has continued to speak out against what she describes as systemic bias and discrimination in Congress. The incident has also sparked a broader conversation about the role of social media in modern politics. Critics argue that platforms like Twitter and Facebook amplify conflict and incentivize extreme behavior, creating a toxic environment where sensationalism often trumps substance. As new details emerge, both lawmakers face mounting pressure to address the incident publicly. While Omar has called for accountability and reflection, Boebert has dismissed the controversy as a distraction from her work in Congress. "The left wants to focus on drama," she said in a recent interview. "I'm focused on delivering results for my constituents." For now, the confrontation between Boebert and Omar remains a flashpoint in American politics. Whether it leads to meaningful change or simply becomes another chapter in the nation's increasingly contentious political narrative remains to be seen. What is clear, however, is that this incident has struck a nerve, exposing deep divisions within Congress and the country as a whole. Stay tuned as the nation watches and waits for the next chapter in this unfolding drama. For now, the confrontation serves as a vivid reminder of the challenges facing American democracy in an era defined by polarization and conflict.